My name is Shulamit Lazarus, and you can learn about my work at shulamitlazarus.com. The other day, I did a bunch of videos telling you about how I had cleared a tremble in my hand, a tremor that I'd had for about 8 years. And I realized that I brought up the whole idea of EFT and said that you can look that up. But then I realized that makes no sense because I could teach it to you. So what I want to do today is to teach you EFT. So EFT is based on a discovery that all negative emotion and the things that stop us in our lives from moving ahead and becoming everything that we can be comes from a disturbance in the energy field. So for anybody who has a hard time with that idea of the energy field and thinks it's this woo-woo kind of idea, it was already confirmed by Saxton Burr, which is a professor emeritus from Yale Medicine in the 1900s. So our medical system understands that we have energy fields, but it only deals with it in terms of the heart and the muscle and the brain. And then it kind of forgets that we have energy fields in every part of our body. Anyway, and actually we are a field within a field within a field within a field ad infinitum. So what happens when we disturb our energy fields is we create experiences of emotional and physical pain, which is why people go to acupuncturists, because focusing on the energy meridians of the system reflects in less pain. So, in homeopathy, we understand that everything has a vital force, and that vital force, otherwise known as chi or prana, if it gets disturbed by any mental, emotional, or physical shock, which typically, by my age, 65, but unfortunately much, much younger, we already have that, or any depletion over time, you know, whether it's women having really long periods or exhaustion in any manner, will create a disturbance in the energy field. And that disturbance in the vital force / energy field creates symptoms on the mental, emotional, and or physical level. And we have discovered the way to affect that is to go directly to the energy field. And what's really wonderful is there's this process called EFT that allows us to do that. EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques and is based on the discovery that all negative emotion comes from a disturbance in the energy field. However, as a homeopath, I also know that physical pain and symptoms of disease come from a disturbance in the energy field. And what we also know is that if we clear the disturbance in the energy field, then we're able to release the issue, whatever it is. It becomes neutralized and it's no longer affecting us. So this is the work that I do with clients on tremendous amounts of issues, whether it's self-limiting beliefs or griefs, consequences of abuse, PTSD, creative blocks, success blocks, whatever it is, it's a disturbance in the energy field. And I found it incredibly successful in my own life and incredibly successful with my clients. So I want to share that with you because I'm inviting you to explore that possibility for yourself and how it might help you. And also because I brought up this whole idea that we are in contact with all information at all times, even though we consciously don't know it. And tapping with that understanding can allow us to potentially find out what it is that's affecting our field on a more, well, let's just leave it like that, okay? So we can deal with stress on a daily basis by bringing down the charge by tapping, and we can also, if we're not feeling well, try and ferret out what it is that might be the causative agent And as I told you, for me, it was articaine. I'm still doing research on that. You know, today I looked at what is articaine made of. I don't know, right? But when I saw this thing that it has an amide in it, and I started tapping on the amide, immediately started yawning. So my system knows, even though I don't know I know. Okay? All right, so basically that's what we're talking about. All right, so let's look at EFT. EFT works. Okay, so backtrack. When we bring up a thought, and that thought is associated with a negative feeling or a negative experience, it charges that thought negatively. What happens then is it creates blockages in the meridians, and by tapping on certain acupuncture points while we hold the issue in mind that's problematic for us, we're able to clear the issue. So I'm going to go through the process at a very rudimentary level so that you can do that for yourself. Now this is part of the field of energy psychologies, and there are other modalities such as EMDR and other things. It doesn't matter, many things out there, right? However, this is something you can do for yourself. And I think that anything that you can do for yourself empowers you, right? Having said that, there's also nothing like working with a practitioner, because for anybody who drives out there, and it's hard to believe that people don't, you have a mirror that tells you what's going on in your blind spot. You always have a blind spot. I have a blind spot, you have a blind spot, the Pope has a blind spot, everybody's got a blind spot. And so we need somebody at times to say, whoa, 20 degrees to your right, there's a Mack truck, okay? So that's one of the benefits of having a practitioner. The other benefit is that when you have somebody who is able to hold an energetic space with you, it allows things to move forward and through in the session in a way that you don't get by yourself. So, okay, so just on the rudimentary level, and I'm not going to go through the whole EFT algorithm, which involves moving the eyes and singing and humming and numbers and stuff like that. Since 99.99999% of things can be addressed with just a simple, basic, easy process that we have culled it down to, that's what I'm going to teach you. Okay? We call it the shortcut. But eventually it'll probably won't even have that name anymore. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to tap on the side. This is called the karate chop area. And we want to tap on the side of the hand. Okay, and now there's meridian points at the tips of your fingers. And what you're doing also is you're going to be saying something. And it's an affirmation. Now, there are many practitioners who have changed it and gone into different places, and you can read that, so people drop the affirmation. However, I find it's really helpful, and it activates something. So what we're going to say is, even though blank, I deeply and completely accept myself. Now, why that's important, even though you may not feel you accept yourself because of the issue that you're dealing with, which of course is understandable, it's totally logical, is that there's a part of you that's connected to the divine loving source of your being all the time through your heart. And your heart governs the frequencies of the rest of your body. So when your heart shuts down, it depresses the immune system because it has immune regulating capabilities. When you are feeling uplifted, it uplifts your immune system. Your heart, the field of your heart, is 5,000 times as big as the field of your brain. So your heart is always connected to that truth of your existence. And now, had you listened to my other videos that I had very unprofessionally and crazily done the other day, sharing with you the removal of the tremor, you'll realize that you are one field with that love. You are one field with that heart. And anytime you feel love, anytime you feel joy, anytime you feel possibility, anytime you feel uplifted, you're connected to the truth of your nature. And that my desire for you is to experience that and live in that. Which doesn't mean you don't have bumps. I got bumps. Everybody's got bumps, right? But it's how we move through the bumps and how fast we move through them. That's important. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to tap and you're going to say, even though, and you're going to fill in the blank. So let's say we're dealing with stress, because that's just so general and we can do that. And even when you wake up in the morning, you're already stressed out, right? You slept scrunched, your food didn't digest right, you've got stuff in your mind from the other day, right? Stuff that you have to do for the day. I mean, it's already roiling, right? So what we want to do is we want to address that immediately, because you don't want to go into your day with stress. Now, one of the things that I do is to say, today is the most glorious day of my life, which could be like totally ridiculous for somebody to say when you haven't gotten to that place yet of knowing what you're doing. So I will share creating reality in another video. But right now what I want to do is just teach you the basics of EFT. So you're going to tap on the side of your hand and you're going to say, even though, and you're going to blank, I deeply and completely accept myself. And we're going to say that 3 times, right? We're going to tap just like that 3 times. And then you're going to tap the top of your head. I'm going to say like 7 to 9 times. This is not a hard rule. I would never get involved with anything that has hard rules because I'm an intuitive. And so for me, it's all about feeling the resonance and the essence of something and working with it. And then allowing it ideally to work through you as opposed to from you. But right now, you're going to be the one that's deliberately doing it, right? Until it becomes like breathing. All right? Now, so the top of the head, you tap. Then there's a point between the brow and the nose. And I'm going to put my glasses on again because I can't see without them. Okay, and you're going to tap there. And then side of the eye, there's a bone. What you want to do is not go into the temple, that hollow. You want to stay in that bone area, okay? There you are, in between your eyeball and that temple, that bone, the orbit of the eye. And then underneath the eye, where the eye becomes the cheek, right, on that bone. Now, we're always tapping on bone because bone actually puts out electrical jolts, so to speak. Okay. And then between the nose and the mouth, between the mouth and the chin, the collarbone area, which is where your collarbone, your rib, and your first rib meet, okay? And I just use my 4 fingers. And then underneath the arm, where the bone is, okay? So, again, top of the head, the brow area, side of the eye, underneath the eye, between the nose and the mouth, between the mouth and the chin, collarbone area, and under the arm. Okay? That's it, right? Now, some practitioners, I'm getting my glasses back, hello. Some practitioners tap both sides. I find it's unnecessary. The only reason to tap both sides is because you want to. And it's not like it's more effective. Okay? It could be 5 taps. Some practitioners just tap 2 or 3 taps, right? But I'm teaching you a basic formula, so to speak. Okay, so let's work on stress. All right, so this is very general. Okay? Now, one caveat I want to tell you. Please, 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 I can't beg you enough. Please don't work on intense intense emotional issues that come from abuse, when anything is deep down buried so that you can function from day to day, what you do when you start tapping is you're accessing that information. This is the most profound method of healing that I have ever encountered, EFT. One of the most profound. I mean, as a homeopath, I have to say that homeopathy, I wouldn't use EFT if I had the plague. I would use homeopathy. But just in terms of something that doesn't need an outside substance, right? That just involve yourself. This is the most profound. The work that I've been able to do with this in my own life and with other people's lives has been astounding. Even to get into a moment, a nano moment of an experience that made you take in a core belief, it's been astounding, right? And we've been able to clear that. However, there is trauma in you that's kept down away from consciousness for a reason. We need to honor that. So, excuse me. So if you find that you're starting to bring up a lot of pain, stop what you're doing, okay? And find a practitioner who knows how to deal with emotional issues and trauma. Because we work with them differently. When I work with somebody who's been traumatized and is flooding with pain, I actually work with them in such a way that I don't even have them think about the issue. I don't allow them to think about the issue. So we work with people with trauma very differently than everyday issues, right? Like creative blocks and success blocks and whatever. Okay? So right now that I've given that caveat that I never ever hear anybody in this field ever say, and I've been wanting to get it out there for a long time, let's work on stress. Okay, so just general stress. So it's going to sound like this, even though, excuse me, I should have brought water next time. I have that stress. You know what? I'm going to get water. Here I am. There you are, looking at my boring stuff behind me. Okay. All right. So, even though I have this stress, or I feel this stress, whatever feels right to you, right? There's no magic. It's about what you're feeling, okay? And you fill it in. I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I have this stress, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I have this stress, I deeply and completely accept myself. And then we go up to the top and we use what we call a reminder phrase, which is basically a way of keeping our consciousness attuned to the issue, because our mind will wander, right? So we say, this stress, and we tap on the top of the head. Then to the brow point, this stress, and we tap on the brow point. Then side of the eye, this stress, we tap on the side of the eye. Then tapping under the eye, this stress. And then between the nose and the mouth, this stress. Going down between the mouth and the chin, this stress. Collarbone area, this stress. And then under the arm, this stress. Then we go back up to the top of the head again, and we tap this stress. Brow, this stress. Side of the eye, this stress. Under the eye, this stress. Between the nose and the mouth, this stress. Between the mouth and the chin, this stress. Collarbone area, this stress. Under the arm, this stress. Top of the head, this stress. Brow, this stress. Side of the eye, this stress. Under the eye, this stress. Between the nose and the mouth, this stress. Between the mouth and the chin, this stress. Collarbone area, this stress. Under the arm, this stress. Now, we've done, there you are. Okay, we've done 3 cycles of EFT tapping. You'll also hear it called tapping, right? Now, we're basically looking at bringing the charge completely down. So, perfectionism in and of itself is not a good thing, right? However, getting things down to 0 is great. It's a wonderful goal, all right? And it's totally doable. And I work with that all the time in my practice. I don't go to 1 or 2 and say that's fine. Because anything that you're holding in your field, it becomes cumulative, right? It gets layered, one on top of another. And if you think about it in terms of filling up a cup, if you keep filling the cup with more and more and more, what's eventually going to happen? It's going to overflow, right? And then you melt down or you have an illness or whatever. So we don't need that, right? We want you to be in the best state possible, okay? So you're going to continue. Now, one way to look at it is to use numbers. And in EFT, we use numbers to, it's totally subjective, right? However, it's a way of gauging what's going on, right? So if I said to you, where are you with your stress from 0 to 10? Then, and you say a 7, right? You get an idea of where you are, right? So if you're tapping this stress, this stress, this stress, and then you get to a 4, you know you're going in the right direction, right? But if you're saying this stress, this stress, this stress, and it's starting to climb, is a good tip-off to you that lets you know that there's something that's wanting to be more specific, something wanting to be addressed, right? And then you can investigate that. And again, if it's not a super traumatic thing, it might be that, the rent is due, or you're having a fight with your boss, right? Then you can get more specific, even though I'm angry at my boss, I deeply and completely accept myself anyway, right? Okay? Even though the rent is due, I deeply and completely accept myself anyway. Okay. So I think this is enough for today, and I will continue teaching you different things that I do with my clients, the work that I've done for myself and with myself, the modalities that I've used. And I'm hoping that each video that you see, you feel like you got value from, and that they are each a blessing for you. I send you love. I send you hugs. I know the truth of your nature. It is love. It is light. It is possibility. And I want you to experience that for yourself, because that's your birthright. Have a spectacular day. All right. Mwah!